Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. Now in tonight's video we're going to be talking about a best class setup for the Scar 17 in Modern Warfare. Now this is a weapon that is sort of underrated, I would say, in this game, and it's very powerful at ranges, but you can also use another class setup and make it a little bit more effective overall. Going to be talking about both of those options and everything when we break down this weapon. This of course is the Scar in this game, which it's more of like a heavy Scar. This is not like the Scar L from Modern Warfare 3. I think if you're going to compare it to a Scar L or a Scar H, I'm not a gun expert in all means, but I would think this one, at least from the feel in the game, feels more like a heavy Scar. And also you can see because of the fact that it has 20 rounds in each magazine, which is pretty low and comparable to what it was in Modern Warfare 2. This was a gun in Modern Warfare 2 that was super duper strong, but also had its weaknesses similar to how it is in this game. If you guys could go ahead and drop a like on this video, let's go ahead and go for 702 likes. That would be absolutely incredible if we could hit that. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed. Smack that like button. Got way more uploads coming out later tonight, so I'd appreciate if everyone could take that millisecond out of their day, tap that like button. It would be much appreciated. So what is this weapon? It is a large caliber, fully automatic assault rifle that provides high damage over long ranges. And a more in-depth description I found online for it in this game is the Scar is a highly customizable and fully automatic assault rifle loaded with high caliber rounds, allowing you to deal high damage over long ranges. And that of course really is impactful, especially after the nerfs we've had in this game to 5.56 ammo and how that works on fully auto ARs at range, where the damage fall off is now increased. This is a weapon that does not use that ammo. It uses a different type of ammo, more of a heavy ammo, and that makes it so the damage fall off is not bad at all on this weapon. And also when we break it down into the attachments with the barrels that we use on this thing, you can see that it's all revolving around keeping it effective and good at long range. Now I was also using this thing in Shoot House because it is okay, I'd say, and it is effective in your smaller range maps, but definitely in your more mid to long range fights is where you want to take this thing and use it to its best capabilities. Now what do we rock with as far as the attachments, or not the attachments, we're going to get to that in a second, as far as the perks with this setup. Now personally for my equipment, I rock with the Claymore and the stim shot. Now I really haven't mixed up from the Claymore even after it's I don't use restock or I don't use anything, but when I'm restocking with the ammo crates, I guess that gives me more Claymores. I still think they're pretty effective. I mean, if you have EOD, people can survive them, but I haven't really mixed that up to the bouncing betties or grenades. I'm still sticking mainly with Claymores on my class setups. Stim shot is self-explanatory, so effective in that tactical slot. And then the three perks I rock with are EOD, Kill Chain, and then Tracker. Now EOD is self-explanatory. There's a lot of explosives happening in this game, and EOD is very strong. Probably the strongest overall first perk if you're talking about a one weapon setup other than overkill. Second perk slot, I go with Kill Chain. Kill Chain is great for stacking those streaks. So once you get yourself your VTOL, which is your Harrier, you can that will usually get you a couple kills to get up to that next streak, or you can do it in different, if you're running mid-level kill streaks, or you're going for the super duper high level kill streaks, whether it's a Juggernaut or whatever. Kill Chain is very effective in that regard, and I think works good on this class setup. And the third perk is a little bit of a mixing it up on this setup with Tracker. Tracker isn't one that I'll use all the time, but I find that it's nice on this setup, and it really, Tracker is good in this game compared to how it was in Black Ops games. I'd say it's probably, I don't know, this might be the most effective Tracker's ever been. It's very easy to see people, see their footsteps, and if you combine that knowledge with the visual as well as the knowledge of the audio, because of course you should be sound whoring and listening for your enemies in this game, you can really be absolutely amazing with this setup. That's what we run as far as that. What are the strengths and weaknesses of this gun? Of course, the biggest strength is that damage at range. The biggest weakness I would probably say is it does have a decent amount of vertical recoil, which we'll talk about when we get to the attachments in a second here and how to control that. And its other weakness is, of course, the fact that you have 20 rounds only. You can get that up to 25 or 30, but still, I mean, running extended mags to go from 20 to 25 almost seems pointless. 20 to 30, there definitely is a point to that, but once again, you're still stuck with only 30 rounds. This weapon does not have the fastest fire rate, though, so you can see, I have some clips here where I get 3 kills or 4 kills out of one clip or one magazine, basically because of the high damage. Anyway, let's go ahead and break down these attachments. Smack a like on this video. Alright guys, so here we have the Scar 17, the FN Scar 17. You can see the class setup like I just talked about: Claymore, Stim, EOD, Kill Chain, Tracker. Now let's go ahead and break down these attachments. Now the biggest thing on the attachments for this is the muzzle and the barrel, because like I talked about, this is a weapon that, because of the ammunition and because of just its design and its damage fall-offs not being very, not impacting the weapon in a negative way too much compared to other assault rifles, it's very effective at longer ranges. But the problem with that is it's also kind of a bit hard to handle handle. And I'm someone that says, like, recoil really doesn't matter in this game because you kill people so quick, but this one does have a little bit of bounce to it that's a little bit hard to control and does take some practice. So first of all, for the muzzle, monolithic suppressor. Now, honestly, sound suppression and damage range for giving up ADS speed and aim walking steadiness, I think it's just it's so weird because the majority of Call of Duty games, a silencer, I guess it's not a silencer, it's a suppressor, but the majority of time, that's not the best attachment to use on an assault rifle. More of the time, it's been assault rifles go unsilenced, SMGs go silenced, but in this game, it really is amazing. And the monolithic suppressor, you see it on a lot of my AR classes and a lot of especially public match players class setups because, you know, damage range and sound suppression, giving up aim walking steadiness and aim and down sight speed. Those are two things that do hurt a little bit, but of course, you know, what this class up is designed for, the damage range is something that we really need to max out, and monolithic suppressor helps with that. Next, when it comes to the barrel, you have a choice between a speed up barrel here, which costs you bullet velocity and recoil control. I probably wouldn't go with this unless you're trying to turn it into like a SCAR L and try to rush with this weapon, which I really haven't given that too much thought. These are the two ones you want to think between, the 17.2 inch and the 20 inch. And of course, we're going to go with the longer barrel just because, like I said, it gives you recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range. This is practically the big three, and honestly perfect for a weapon like this where damage range is what we need because, I mean, we don't necessarily need it, but it's good to max it out because that's where we're going to be trying to take a lot of fights on. If you saw in the gameplay, I was playing Shoot House, but if you're playing on 10v10 or even a bigger 6v6 map or, of course, Ground War, a lot of those fights are going to be impacted by this. And then bullet velocity is a big deal with, you know, the fire rate of this weapon and the time to kill and everything around that. And then the recoil control is, of course, a big deal as well because, like I said, this weapon does have a little bit too much of a bounce compared to some of the other weapons, so that's important. Of course, you can get the same aspects, but you give up less. You know, your cons are a little bit less because you have a shorter barrel with a 17.2 inch. So if you're on a smaller map, probably go with the 17.2 inch. You know, if you're on a bigger map or even like a mid-range map, majority of the time, you're going to want to max out this barrel and go with the 20 inch. It just is what it is, and it's a very good attachment that fits with this weapon. Next thing you're going to want to rock is sleight of hand. This is basically, in my opinion, non-negotiable. You pretty much want to go with sleight of hand every single time on this weapon, whether you have 20 rounds or whether you go with the extended mags and you give up, you give up your ADS speed and your movement speed a little bit or a little bit more to get yourself 25 or 30 mags. It's still like sleight of hand. Even if you have 30, you still want sleight of hand on this weapon, in my opinion, if you're trying to play it fast at all. So that's what we have. So these three attachments, I think you definitely want to stick with. And then these last two attachments are what sort of can change up depending on the map and situation. So for me, when I'm playing Shoot House with this setup, I will go with something like a collapsible stock. Now, there's no normal stock on this weapon. There's nothing that increases your aim walking movement speed. Actually, two of these stocks hurt you on your aim walking movement speed and give you aim instability. ADS speed you can get from this, which can be nice, but of course, ADS speed and movement speed you are nice on this as well. So it really does come down to, if you're playing on a smaller map, I would probably go with a collapsible stock or a close quarter stock. Either one of these, just depending on which, if you want more movement speed for less recoil, or if you want just ADS speed, not really worried about the movement speed and giving up stability, something like that. And then also with the stippled grip tape, which gives you, of course, aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. This would be the setup I would use for more of a 6v6 small to medium setup. However, if you want to take this weapon and make it happen at range, which is more of what it's designed for, I would go with something more like this, where you'd probably want to switch off the stock because, I mean, these stocks are good and you really almost never see me say, hey, use an assault rifle without stock. But for this weapon, it kind of is an exception where you can take that off and actually go all the way down to the operator foregrip, which gives you straight up no frills foregrip, helps control vertical recoil for faster follow-up shots. Once again, works perfectly with the recoil pattern on this. You give up a little more ADS speed, so you are losing at close range, but that recoil control to help you pick people off at mid to longer ranges where your damage range, stacking with the monolithic, stacking with the barrel, stacking with the 7.62 ammo, stacking with the strength of this weapon really does come into play. And then if you go with a setup like that, you can either choose to mix up the stippled grip tape. I would probably stay with this just so your weapon doesn't get too slow if you don't have anything speeding it up. But if you really want to go all in and you want to be fighting those really long range fights, you want to make sure this thing has the least amount of recoil as possible, you can mix that up to the rubberized grip tape, which is something like I would go with the AK-47. It's similar to that. This weapon is similar to that, where a slower fire rate, really good at damage range, really good with the amount of ammo it uses, and really high damage, I guess you could say, just overall. And I basically say the same thing for my AK class. It's either stippled grip tape if I'm having trouble and the weapon's feeling a bit too slow, I want to get in there and speed it up. Obviously, obviously, if I'm playing shoot house, I'm going to go with this every time. Rubberized grip tape if maybe I'm trying to, post up on Arkalov, pick people off on a distance at maybe, Euphrates Bridge or a map like that. So those are the different setups you can run. I would say definitely sticking with these 3 attachments are the main core of this SCAR build that I like to use personally, and then mixing it up on what you rock with the rear grip or if you go with an underbarrel or stock. As far as the optic sights, you could rock an optic sight with this. The thing about using sights in this game, of course, is it does lose you a bit of ADS speed, which it really isn't that significant, honestly, at all. I thought it would be a lot more significant when I first loaded up the game. I was kind of worried about it, but it really doesn't turn out to be that significant. But the main thing is not losing the ADS speed, or the main thing is losing that one attachment slot, which you could be using to put on something else. And I personally like the default sights on this. I mean, it's a SCAR. If you've ever played with the SCAR in Call of Duty, the sights on this, I mean, as you can see from the gameplay, are pretty much the same. Anyway, hopefully this class setup did help you guys out, did talk about how to, maneuver this build for your map and mode situation, for whether you're taking on more close range fights on a shoot house or more longer range fights in a 10v10 or ground war. Thanks for watching. Drop a like on this video. I'd really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed. And that's about it. I'll catch you on the next one. More videos coming out later tonight, so smack that like. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.